Okay, guys, you know the drill. Dave, give us an overview, please.
Yeah, as much as I love being here, this is my least favorite press conference of the year. But God, just so proud and just so blessed and to have coached this team. We'll have a number of players that will move on, whether it's seniors or juniors who will get drafted and won't return to the program. And boy, what a mark they left on our program, right? I mean, been to the World Series for 3 straight years. Our program as a whole, we've hosted a regional for 6 straight years. We've been to 4 straight super regionals. Boy, we've got some guys who've got some history and some track record. They've left our program a better place than they found it. I usually challenge them when we go to an opposing park, whether it's their dugout or their locker room. I always challenge them to leave it better than we found it. And they certainly took that to heart as far as what they did for our program. So I've got nothing but pride. It's my alma mater. It's my school, a place where I played and won a national title. And I'm just even more satisfied at the brotherhood that they've created amongst each other. You can see the emotion at the end of the day that it's hard to say goodbye. And I always tell them we're going to say farewell. We're not going to say goodbye. But even that's hard. And, you want to let them experience that pain a little bit because of just how deeply they feel for each other. Today's game, obviously, it started out well for us, taking a lead early, and but boy, Chase Burns came in there and just slammed the door on us and made it really difficult for us. Didn't give us any cracks. We were going to have to do something special there against him. And then just trying to hold on to that lead became more difficult. They did a nice job. They got the double in the 7th inning, and then were able to get contact and then a wild pitch to score. But Chase was going to make it real difficult for us to score. We were going to probably have to get him out of there somehow and run his pitch count up and maybe even play 10 or 11 innings. But hats off to him because he really. That was an all-time performance at the College World Series. But again, hey, my club, I had the player of the year in the conference. I had the pitcher in the year of the conference for the 3rd straight year. We won the league by 5 games, which no one usually does in our league. So there is nothing that could tarnish our season this year. There's nothing. And you could say, hey, you came here and you lost in 2 straight. Not going to do it. It's not going to make me feel one less that this was a special year for this group. We competed really hard. We played against the #1 team in the country and fought hard today. And to be quite honest, we're capable of winning a national title if things fall right for us. But they just didn't, and that's just baseball. Unfortunately, for 7 of the 8 teams that are here, it's not going to fall right for. So a tough ending for us for sure. But there's nothing but pride for me as a head coach, and I love these guys, and I say that easily and freely because that's a big part of our program is the relationships we build with our players, and you see the emotion of the relationships they build with each other, and that was my number one goal is when we won a title in '87, and I've got 100 texts from my teammates in '87 right now and throughout the tournament. Those guys are my brothers. That's my family, and my hope was to deliver the same experience I had, that they would be able to feel for their teammates the same way that I felt for mine. And then I would take my chances on winning as many baseball games as possible if I could develop that in our locker room. And we have, and it's been pretty special for a number of years now that now the players that remain in our program are going to have to take that baton and just carry it. And we're gonna come here and have a celebration at some point, and it'll be on the shoulders of these alumni the past 3 years that have brought us here, where we can just learn and kind of just normalize our experience here. But it'll happen, and it'll be fun to call the Drew Dowds and Alberto Rioses of the world and say, hey, listen, we are here because of you and what you did for our program, and you're going to celebrate this with us as much as anybody else. And from what I'm feeling from the alumni that are reaching out, they've got nothing but great feelings for this team and our program and how it represents our school, and I'm right there with them.
Now we'll open up for questions for the student athletes. And again, give us your name, your affiliation, and which guy you're asking the question. Eric, we'll start with you.
Alberto, this is for you. Eric Sorensen of D1 Baseball. I'll kind of ask the obvious question, what was Chase doing? You got a hit off him, had a little success, but what were some of the other guys on the bench saying? Like, what was the key to keeping you guys kind of down for the last few innings?
I think for the most part, he made his pitches when he wanted to. He made some really good pitches. He he made sure he had his thrown off in between counts and stuff like that. I mean, we were putting our swing off on him. His stuff was working really well, and it's just baseball sometimes. You'll swing and miss sometimes, you'll get a hit sometimes, and that's exactly what happened.
Next question. Yeah, Jack in the back. Jack in the back.
Jack DeLongchamp of Foul Pole Sports. Alberto, obviously Pac-12 Player of the Year, an incredible season. If this was it for you, what's it meant to be a Stanford Cardinal?
I think this place has turned me into a man, has given me best friends for the rest of my life, has given me the opportunity to express myself for the player and the person I am, and I owe this place everything, to the head coaching staff, to the players, to the staff. I think this place is insanely special, and that's an understatement. I think to compete at the highest level and to go to the school that we go to, I think it's a blessing, and it's beyond any words that I can comprehend. And this place is second to none in everything, and it shows with our guys, our coaching staff, and what this place has done for me, and what it's meant for me. It's given me everything.
Okay, Joe.
Joe Healy, D1 Baseball. Drew, what can you say about the way Quinn battled again today after what he's already given you guys this season, and did that make you even more eager to be able to kind of come in and pick him up?
Yeah, I mean, Quinn's bailed us out all year. Just him coming back in the first place was a statement in itself. But it couldn't have even been extra motivation for me. When I took the ball from him, I said, you picked us up enough this year. I got you right here. And, I mean, today it wasn't easy for him. I don't think he had his best stuff, but he battled and just didn't go his way that fifth inning. But at the same time, like I said, we wouldn't be here without him. We wouldn't be close to here without him. So that was the least I could do for him, for what he's done for us.
Okay, back here.
Ron Krejci from the San Francisco Chronicle. David, I'm sorry if you were asked this before I came in, but how did the vibe sort of change in the fifth? I mean, you guys not only were up 4-0, but Quinn had retired 8 in a row. It seemed like
We're going with questions for the student athletes right now.
I'm sorry. Okay. Alberto, then, if I can ask you about Burns and facing him and how that changed. I mean, you guys had obviously got to their starter, and then he came in and was difficult. What made him so hard, and how did that change things?
I think him opposed to the starting pitcher Doolander, he was just making his pitches. He had everything working for him, whether it was a fastball, slider, changeup. He was making his pitches whenever he wanted to, compared to the previous guy that we got to. I think when he needed his one, he got it, and it's not easy when you're facing 100 and with that kind of slider and stuff. I know he's a good pitcher, but we try to do our best, the best we could, and sometimes it just doesn't go our way, and I think that's exactly what happened.
Okay, we'll have one more time, a chance for one more question for the student athletes. Mike, we'll give it to you.
Mike Patterson, Omaha World Herald. Alberto, talk about, were you surprised they tried to score on you in that first inning, and how'd you feel about the throw you made?
I loved it. I mean, do it. I'll throw you out. That's exactly how I felt. I forgot what inning it was, but the close one, I was just I feel like if I put a better throw on it, I could have gone the other way too. I know my abilities and stuff, and there you go.
Guys, thank you. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, wasn't that we're inches away from that in that fifth inning of there being 0 runs scored. Alberto makes that great throw, and we're bang bang at the plate, and run scored.
Okay, we'll start with Joe again here. Ron, I'm sorry. Start with Ron.
Yeah, and going into the fifth, how much did it feel like Quinn had sort of turned a corner? I mean, he retired 8 in a row. I think five of those 8 were strikeouts. He seemed to really have them off balance. What sort of changed in the fifth, do you think? And
they just had some really good, tough two-strike at bats. You know, they were when they're fouling off pitches, and as you foul off some pitches, you're taking a little steam. You know, even if they go down, they're taking him down a little bit with them. And I just think they were able to foul off a few more pitches and stay in the at bat. And they had some really good two-strike contact up the middle. They made it really tough. And you know, we felt that we owed it to Quinn to, you know, let him be in there as long as we could. And you know, he wanted that last batter, and he's earned it. And you know, we very easily could have got out of there with either 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. It seemed like that every at bat was they were tacking on another hit in a really tough at bat. But it's baseball, you know. Like I said, Alberto throws that ball maybe just a little lower. We get to the plate a little quicker, and they don't get anything that inning. But that's baseball. And then they had some really tough at bats against Quinn, and of course, like I said, Burns came in and just threw up a wall there, and you know, the guy's reaching triple digits every now and then landing a slider. I don't think baseball gets any tougher than that. As good as we are, that's pretty high level baseball that we were battling. And again, hats off to him, because that was just a tremendous pitching performance.
Now it's Joe.
I was ready for you, Bill.
Okay.
Coach, is there any sort of historical comp you could throw on Burns? Maybe not even just in terms of the stuff, although I'd take that as well, but in terms of the way he seems to change the tenor of a game when he comes in?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? I mean, a guy that comes in when the momentum is the other way, it's a 4-0 lead, and just kind of shut it down and didn't really give us any crack, right? I mean, I think Alberto got a hit off of him, and I'm not sure how many hits he gave up, and he only gave up 2 hits, right? And with 9 punch outs. He made it tough, didn't walk anybody. I don't think he didn't walk anybody. So he wasn't giving us anything. And, you know, the 2 runs they score, I think they scored, both runs were one hit batter and a walk, I believe. But eventually when they did score, actually they hit a double and then hit a ground ball. So again, we got beat by execution. You know, they achieved and made it hard on us, and the double and then just contact and then a wild pitch was how the 2 runs that got ahead of them scored. We were probably going to have to stalemate it for a little bit if we were going to get to him eventually.
Okay, Eric.
Hey, Dave. Eric Sorensen, D1 Baseball. I love covering you guys this year. It's been fun, man. Been a fun ride. And you did talk about just a little bit ago about losing some of the guys. You're going to lose some guys this year, but when you come back to Omaha next year, who's going to be your leaders?
Yeah, good question, right? Yeah, hey, we've got some guys that are, you know, and we've had great luck of kids who maybe don't play any role, and then all of a sudden step up just by experiencing the program. But obviously Malcolm Moore, it's going to start with Malcolm Moore, Braden Montgomery. Those 2 guys are going to be probably cornerstones of our team. You know, we've got kids in the pipeline just chomping at the bit to play. You know, Jimmy Nadai, who sat on the bench but helped us get here this year, and you know, Tamo Becerra got some great experience, and Trevor Haskins, who was our, you know, starting shortstop going into the season, but you know, because of injury and sickness, never got healthy enough to actually play the season. But he's the guy that had the big walk-off a year ago against Texas State, and he's going to be a year older and a year better. You know, some of the pitching that we'll get back between Nick Dugan and Matt Scott, they're just going to be better than they were this year. So we got a very nice recruiting class coming in with some really good arms. We're going to have to maybe replace some of those home runs that we had this year, and then we'll see how the draft treats us. You know, we expect that we could lose quite a few of our players, but you know, I'm always hopeful that we create a program where if it's not exactly right for them to leave, it's a win-win. They feel comfortable coming back, that they'll get better, they'll get a year older, they'll maybe make themselves even a better prospect. And I think that's kind of the measure of my program. If I get some kids that if the draft doesn't work out and they're 100% comfortable coming back, that's the program that I want to have, and I feel like we have that. And you know, Quinn Matthews is an example of that. Brendan Beck, Alex Williams. Those guys didn't balk at coming back for a senior year because of the program and culture that we have. And so maybe we'll get a surprise or 2, but I'm just so thankful that the way those players have left our program, and I'll continue to say they left it better than we found it, even though they found it pretty good.
We have a question. This will be our last question for the session. Ron.
David, you and a couple players have talked about how close-knit this group is and how much they enjoy playing together. Given that, and given the way you guys lost these 2 games, you know, having a chance, obviously, right up to the end both times, What was the post-game session like? What could you say in that setting when it was so sort of raw?
Yeah, it was. You're right. It is raw at the end. And quite frankly, it should be. And I can understand that. And you got to give them that time to feel the pain of the end of the season. And the last time they get a chance to play with some of those players, and they've gone through a big battle this year, but from winning the league and the battle it takes to get through a regional and then a super regional, and then the experience of being here at Omaha, that's playing at the highest level, and going to a school like Stanford and getting that education, but also proving that you could play your sport at the highest level. That will set a standard for their whole life, no matter what they do, and it doesn't matter what line of work they go into, but that will mark them as fathers and husbands, even after baseball's all said and done with. And that was my experience. And so I know getting them here to Omaha and letting them know that they could play baseball at the highest level, they could study and go to a school at the highest level, they can expect that out of themselves. They will be, not only great baseball players at the professional level, but great doctors and lawyers and employees for any business that would have them. And that's what you walk away in the end when you graduate from Stanford and you get a chance to play baseball here. So I'm proud to continue that. Coach Marquis kind of set the standard here at Stanford, and I'm able to take that baton from him. And but I've been marked by our program, and I hope that we've done the same for everybody in our program.
Dave, thank you.
Okay.
As always.
All right. Thanks again. Okay. All right.